Roman Reigns returns to help CM Punk, Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso against the Vision on Raw. WWE just took the most anticipated return in wrestling and turned it into an absolute dumpster fire of lazy booking, and I have never been more furious about how this company wastes golden opportunities. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the man whose absence should have been treated like a monumental moment in WWE history, came back on Monday Night Raw not to reclaim his throne, not to confront his family, not to address the bloodline civil war that's been brewing, but to help CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso fight the Vision in a segment that made zero sense, contradicted years of character development, and destroyed multiple compelling storylines in one fell swoop. And before you tell me, just enjoy the moment, or it's just entertainment, let me explain why this isn't just bad booking. This is WWE actively sabotaging their own best work because they're so desperate for a big moment that they'll sacrifice everything they've built to get one crowd pop. But here's what's going to make you absolutely lose your mind: Roman's return wasn't supposed to happen this way at all. And when I reveal which last-minute change forced this disaster and who made the call that destroyed months of careful planning, you're going to understand that WWE is fundamentally broken at the decision-making level. Let me set the scene for this complete character assassination. Raw is in the main event segment, and CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso are in the ring getting destroyed by the Vision. They're outnumbered, they're getting beaten down, and it looks like the Vision is going to stand tall to close the show. Standard WWE booking: heels get the upper hand before a pay-per-view to build heat. Fine. But then Roman's music hits. The crowd explodes, and I mean legitimately one of the loudest pops you'll hear all year, because Roman Reigns is back after months away. He storms down the ramp, gets in the ring, and starts Superman punching and spearing everyone in the Vision. Punk, Cody, and Jey recover, they all start fighting together, and the Vision retreats. The four of them, Punk, Cody, Jey, and Roman, stand tall in the ring together as the show goes off the air. Crowd goes home happy. Social media explodes. And I'm sitting here wanting to put my fist through my television. Here's my first question, and I need you to be brutally honest: did Roman Reigns return as a hero helping Punk, Cody, and Jey make any sense based on his character, or did it feel like WWE just needed a big moment and threw logic out the window? Drop your real thoughts below. Let's start with the most fundamental problem: Roman Reigns does not help people. That's not who he is. That's not who he's been for the past 5 years. The tribal chief's entire character is built on dominance, on making people acknowledge him, on being the alpha who stands above everyone else. Roman doesn't run down to make saves. Roman doesn't play hero. Roman doesn't team up with people unless they're his family and they're serving his purposes. Having Roman return as the cavalry riding in to save the day completely contradicts everything WWE has spent half a decade establishing about his character. Think about Roman's character journey. He became the tribal chief by embracing his ruthless side, by putting himself and his family first above all else, by making everyone, including his own cousins, acknowledge his dominance. He held the Universal Championship for over 1,300 days by being calculating, strategic, and willing to do whatever it took to maintain his position at the top. His entire character arc has been about power, control, and family hierarchy. So why the hell would he come back to help CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso? CM Punk is someone Roman has no relationship with. They've barely interacted in WWE. They represent completely different philosophies: Punk the anti-establishment rebel, Roman the dynastic ruler. There's no history there, no friendship, no alliance. Why would Roman care if Punk gets beaten down by the Vision? Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion, which means he has what Roman wants. Roman's whole thing is being the guy, being the champion, being on top. Cody holding that title is a direct threat to Roman's position. Why would Roman help his potential rival? And Jey Uso? Jey-Uso? Roman spent years psychologically torturing Jey, making him submit, breaking him down to rebuild him as Roman's loyal soldier. Then Jey finally broke free, established himself as a single star, and escaped Roman's control. That's a betrayal in Roman's eyes. Why would Roman be cool with Jey now and come running to help him? Question for the Bloodline fans: based on everything we know about Roman's character and his history with Jey specifically, does it make any sense that Roman would return to help Jey? Or should there be massive tension there? Now let's talk about what this does to the Bloodline storyline, because this is where I get really angry. The Bloodline story has been WWE's best long-term narrative in years. Roman as the tribal chief, the Usos as his enforcers, Solo Sikoa rising up, the eventual fracture of the family. It's been masterful storytelling. When Roman stepped away, Solo took over leadership of the Bloodline. We've been building toward the inevitable confrontation between Roman and Solo for who's the real tribal chief. That's compelling. That's a natural story progression that people are invested in. But Roman's return wasn't about the Bloodline at all. He didn't confront Solo. He didn't address the family. He didn't reclaim his position as tribal chief. He just showed up to help fight the Vision because WWE needed a big return moment and didn't care if it made sense for the story they've been telling. The Bloodline Civil War, the story we've been waiting months to see explode, got completely ignored so Roman could be randomly inserted into a different storyline that has nothing to do with him. This is exactly what WWE always does. They build long-term stories carefully and patiently, and then they abandon them the moment they think they need a short-term rating spike or a viral moment. The Bloodline story was working. People were invested. The pieces were in place for an incredible payoff. And WWE just set it aside to do this random team-up instead. It's infuriating. And where's Solo in all this? Where's Jimmy? Where are the Bloodline members who should be Roman's primary concern? They're not even mentioned in this return. It's like WWE just forgot about the entire Bloodline storyline because they were too focused on making a wow moment with Roman saving Punk, Cody, and Jey. Trivia question: Roman Reigns' historic Universal Championship reign lasted 1,316 days. Can you name the pay-per-view and opponent where that reign finally ended? Test your recent WWE history. Let me tell you what really happened backstage, and this is the part that's going to make you furious. The original creative plan for Roman's return was completely different. Roman was supposed to return on SmackDown, his show, where the Bloodline story has been centered, and immediately get involved in the family drama with Solo. The writers had weeks of television mapped out dealing with Roman reclaiming his position, confronting Solo's leadership, and navigating the fractured family dynamics. It was going to be focused, character-driven storytelling that honored the work they'd done building the Bloodline narrative. But then, and this is according to multiple sources with direct knowledge, someone very high up in WWE management decided that Raw needed a bigger moment for their upcoming Netflix transition. They looked at the planned Raw main event of Punk/Cody/Jey versus The Vision and decided it needed more star power. So less than 72 hours before the show, the directive came down: Roman is returning on Raw, not SmackDown, and he's helping the babyfaces against the Vision. The writers objected. They explained that Roman returning on Raw instead of SmackDown makes no sense brand-wise. They pointed out that having him help people contradicts his character. They noted that it abandons the Bloodline story that's been building. Every single one of those concerns was dismissed because someone with ultimate authority made the call, and that was that. Change the plans. Rewrite the show. Make it happen. Roman himself reportedly wasn't thrilled with this direction but is enough of a professional that he'll do what's asked of him. The writers had to scramble to figure out how to make this work with basically no time to properly build it or justify it. And what we got was that segment on Raw: big moment, huge pop, makes no damn sense if you think about it for more than 5 seconds. Real question: when decisions are made this close to showtime overriding months of planning, do you think it's because management knows better than the writers, or because management is panicking and making reactive choices? What does this say about WWE's creative process? Let's discuss what this means for CM Punk's character, because he gets screwed by this too. Punk's whole thing is being the self-sufficient badass who doesn't need help, who fights his own battles, who doesn't rely on others to save him. Having Roman Reigns run in to rescue Punk makes Punk look weak. It makes him look like he couldn't handle the Vision on his own, like he needed the tribal chief to bail him out. That's not good for Punk's character at all. And there's no established relationship between Punk and Roman that would make the save feel organic. They're not friends. They're not allies. They have no history of working together. So Roman running in to help Punk feels completely random, like WWE just needed their 2 biggest stars in the same segment and didn't care if there was any logical reason for them to be working together. If you're going to have someone make the save, have it be someone with an established connection to Punk. Have it be someone from Punk's past, someone he has history with, someone where the audience understands why they'd help each other. But Roman? There's no foundation there. It's just 2 big names being put together because WWE thinks big name plus big name equals good, without understanding that you need story to make those combinations meaningful. Here's a character question: should CM Punk ever be in a position where he needs to be saved, or does that fundamentally contradict what makes his character compelling? What do you think? Now let's talk about Cody Rhodes, who might be the most damaged by this return. Cody is the WWE champion. He's supposed to be the guy, the top star, the face of the company. And on his show Raw is Cody's home brand, he's getting beaten down and needs Roman Reigns to come save him? How does that make Cody look strong as champion? How does that position him as the top guy when he can't handle a situation without the former champion showing up to bail him out? This is the problem with how WWE books their champions. They constantly put them in positions where they look weak or vulnerable, and then someone else has to come save the day. Champions should look dominant. They should look like they can handle their business. If you're going to have the Vision beat down Cody, then have Cody find a way to fight back and overcome the odds himself. That makes him look strong. Having Roman make the save makes Cody look secondary on his own show. And what does this mean for the Roman/Cody dynamic going forward? Roman is going to want the WWE Championship back eventually. He's going to challenge Cody. So they're going to be rivals again. But now they're temporary allies against the Vision? This creates all kinds of weird dynamics where we're supposed to believe they're cooperating now but know they'll be enemies later. That's not necessarily bad storytelling if it's intentional and they play up the tension, but based on how the segment was presented, with everyone celebrating together, it doesn't seem like WWE is thinking that deeply about it. Wrestling history question: can you name a time when two rivals teamed up temporarily and it actually improved their eventual feud rather than diluting it? Give me your best examples of when this dynamic worked. Let's address Jey Uso specifically, because his presence in this segment creates the most character problems with Roman. Jey broke away from the bloodline. Jey established himself as a single star. Jey literally has a catchphrase, YEET, that's about his independence from Roman's control. The entire arc of Jey's character over the past year has been escaping Roman's psychological grip and becoming his own man. So having Roman return and immediately be positioned alongside Jey like they're cool now completely undermines that entire story. Where's the tension? Where's the acknowledgement of their complicated history? Where's Jey's apprehension about being anywhere near Roman after everything Roman put him through? It's just gone. Ignored. Forgotten. Because WWE needed a feel-good moment of everyone working together. This is terrible for Jey's character because it makes his journey of independence feel meaningless. If Roman can just come back and immediately be on Jey's side with no acknowledgement of their history, then what was the point of Jey breaking away? What did he actually achieve? It reduces Jey's character growth to nothing. He's right back in Roman's orbit like the past year never happened. The only way this works is if there's massive tension between Jey and Roman that explodes soon, if Jey is uncomfortable with Roman being there, if the alliance is reluctant and fragile. But based on the segment, everyone was just fine with Roman being there. They all celebrated together. No one questioned it. And that's a huge missed opportunity for character-driven storytelling. Character development question: should Jey Uso trust Roman Reigns after everything Roman put him through, or should there be serious tension and mistrust? What makes for better storytelling? Now let's talk about the Vision and how Roman's return affects them. The Vision has been built as this dominant heel faction that's a serious threat to everyone on the roster. They've been positioned as nearly unstoppable, as the group that can take down anyone through numbers and strategy. And in one segment, Roman Reigns comes back and they all run away scared. How does that make the Vision look credible as threats? This is classic WWE overbooking their returning stars. Roman returns and immediately has to look so dominant that he makes the current top heel faction look weak by comparison. But that hurts the Vision's credibility, which means when Punk, Cody, and Jey eventually beat them, it's less impressive because Roman already showed they're not that tough. You've diminished your heel faction to make your returning star look good, which might work short-term but damages your storytelling long-term. The Vision should be presented as a threat that requires everyone working together to overcome. Roman's presence should make them more dangerous, not send them running. Have Roman return and the Vision still beat them down. Have Roman not be enough on his own, showing that the Vision is so dangerous that even Roman Reigns can't single-handedly turn the tide. That would make the Vision look strong and preserve Roman's mystique because he tried his best but the numbers game was too much. But WWE went the easy route of having Roman clean house because they wanted the babyfaces to look strong going into the pay-per-view. Booking question: should a returning star immediately dominate the current roster, or should they have to work their way back to the top? What's better for the overall product? Let me address but the crowd loved it defense, because I know that's what some people will say. Yes, the crowd popped huge for Roman's return. Yes, people were excited in the moment. Yes, it created a fun atmosphere in the arena. But crowd reactions don't automatically mean good booking. Crowds pop for nostalgia acts and surprise returns regardless of whether they make storyline sense. The crowd would pop for Stone Cold's music hitting even if it made 0 sense for him to be there. Pops don't equal good storytelling. And here's the thing, you know what also would have gotten a huge pop? Roman returning on SmackDown to confront Solo Sikoa. Roman returning to address the Bloodline Civil War. Roman returning in literally any context because he's Roman Reigns and people love seeing him. You didn't need to sacrifice character logic and long-term storytelling to get that reaction. Roman could have returned in a way that made sense and got a massive pop. WWE chose the path that prioritized the immediate moment over everything else. This is WWE's pattern. They book for the live crowd reaction and the social media clip without thinking about where things go from there. They create moments that look great in isolation but don't connect to anything meaningful. And we as fans get conditioned to accept these moments as enough, to not demand actual storytelling beyond just thing happened, crowd cheered, mission accomplished. Honest question: what's more important to you, the immediate excitement of a shocking moment, or the long-term satisfaction of a well-told story? Can you have both, or do you have to choose? Let's discuss what happens next, because that's where this decision is going to create even more problems. Raw ended with Punk, Cody, Jey, and Roman standing tall together. So what now? Are they a team? Are they going to start appearing together regularly? Or was this a one-time thing and next week everyone goes back to their separate storylines like this never happened? If it's a one-time thing, then what was the point? Roman returned just to make one save and then disappear back into his own story? That makes his return feel hollow and meaningless. It was just a cameo, a guest appearance, not the start of anything significant. If they are going to be a regular alliance, then you're committing to this random team-up of 4 characters who have no organic reason to be together. You're going to have to keep finding reasons for them to interact and work together, which means diverting all 4 of them away from their natural storylines to service this manufactured alliance. The most likely scenario is that WWE hasn't actually thought beyond this one segment. They wanted the big moment, they got it, and now they'll figure out the follow-through later. Maybe Roman shows up occasionally to help against the Vision. Maybe he doesn't and this gets quietly forgotten. Maybe they try to build it into something bigger but it fizzles because there's no foundation. We've seen WWE do this countless times, create a moment without planning what comes after, then scramble to make it work or just abandon it. Prediction question: what do you think happens next? Will Roman continue working with Punk, Cody, and Jey, or will this be forgotten by next week? Give me your predictions and let's see who's right. Here's what makes me absolutely furious about this: Roman Reigns' return should have been special. It should have been a massive moment that kicked off an incredible storyline. It should have been about the bloodline, about Solo, about Roman reclaiming his throne. Instead, it got used as a cheap pop in someone else's storyline. Roman's return became about helping other people rather than about him and his story. That's a waste of one of the biggest returns in wrestling. You only get one first return after a long absence. You only get one chance to bring Roman back in a way that sets the stage for his next chapter. And WWE blew it. They used that return as a one-off moment to give Raw a big ending instead of launching Roman into his next major arc. That's short-sighted booking that prioritizes this week over the next 6 months. Imagine if Roman had returned on SmackDown, confronted Solo in an intense promo, laid out his intentions to reclaim the bloodline, and set up a clear direction for his character. That's how you handle a major return. That creates anticipation for what's coming next. That gives Roman a clear purpose and motivation. But instead, he ran in to help fight the Vision in a segment that doesn't connect to any ongoing Roman Reigns storyline. It's a waste. Here's a creative exercise: how would you have booked Roman Reigns' return to maximize its impact and set up compelling storylines? Give me your fantasy booking that's better than what WWE did. Let's talk about the brand split, because this completely ignores it. Roman Reigns is a SmackDown superstar. The bloodline story is on SmackDown. His history, his feuds, his family, everything that defines Roman's character is on SmackDown. So why is he returning on Raw? Yes, WWE does crossover appearances and the brand split isn't as rigid as it used to be, but there should still be logic to when and why people appear on the other show. Roman appearing on Raw to help fight the Vision doesn't make sense from a brand perspective. If the Vision is a Raw problem, then Raw superstars should solve it. If Roman is back, his first priority should be SmackDown and the bloodline. Having him show up on Raw first sends the message that brand loyalty doesn't matter, that wrestlers will just show up wherever WWE needs them regardless of whether it makes sense for their character or story. This might seem like a minor complaint, but it's part of a larger problem with WWE's booking. They don't care about internal consistency. They'll break their own rules whenever it's convenient. Brand split only matters when they want it to matter. Character motivations only matter when they remember to include them. Long-term storytelling only matters until they need a short-term fix. And all of that inconsistency makes it harder for the audience to stay invested because we never know what matters and what doesn't. Brand split question: does WWE's brand split actually mean anything anymore? Or is it just a formality that gets ignored whenever it's convenient? Should there be stricter rules about cross-brand appearances? Here's what should have happened, and I'm going to give you the booking that WWE should have done but didn't. Roman returns on SmackDown. He comes out, cuts a promo about being gone, about watching what happened with the bloodline while he was away, about Solo thinking he can be tribal chief. Solo comes out with his version of the bloodline. They face off. Roman makes it clear there's only one tribal chief, and Solo is going to learn that the hard way. That sets up a clear rivalry. That gives Roman a purpose. That continues the bloodline story that people actually care about. You build to Roman vs. Solo at Survivor Series or the Royal Rumble in a match for control of the bloodline. Other family members have to choose sides. It's dramatic, it's personal, it's compelling. Meanwhile on Raw, Punk, Cody, and Jey handle the Vision themselves. Maybe they struggle, maybe they take some losses, but ultimately they overcome through their own efforts without needing Roman to save them. That makes them all look stronger and more capable. Then, if you must have Roman involved in the Raw storyline, you do it after he's addressed his SmackDown business. Maybe he runs in against Punk/Cody/Jey because he sees the Vision as potential allies or because he wants to assert dominance over Raw too. That creates natural conflict and gives you fresh matchups. But first, you deal with the story Roman is actually connected to before forcing him into random segments he has no business being in. That's logical booking. That's character-driven booking. That's booking that respects the audience's intelligence and the work you've done building these stories. But WWE went the lazy route instead. Final booking challenge: give me one reason why Roman returning on Raw to help against the Vision is better storytelling than returning on SmackDown to deal with the Bloodline. Just one good reason. I'll wait. Here's the absolute bottom line. Roman Reigns returning to help CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso against the Vision on Raw is terrible booking that contradicts Roman's character, abandons the Bloodline storyline, diminishes multiple performers, and wastes one of the biggest return moments in wrestling on a random segment that makes no sense. It prioritizes a short-term crowd pop over long-term storytelling, sacrifices character consistency for a viral moment, and reveals that WWE is still making reactive last-minute decisions instead of trusting the stories they've been carefully building. Roman Reigns deserved better. The Bloodline story deserved better. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso deserved better than being positioned as people who need Roman to save them. And we as fans deserved better than watching months of storytelling get thrown away so WWE could create one Twitter moment that'll be forgotten in a week. This wasn't Roman's return. This was Roman making a cameo appearance in someone else's story. His actual return, the one where he addresses his family, confronts Solo, and reclaims his position as tribal chief, still hasn't happened. WWE used their biggest return of the year as a throwaway moment, and that's not just bad booking, it's creative malpractice. So yeah, Roman Reigns returns to help CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, and Jey Uso against the Vision on Raw. The crowd popped. Social media buzzed. Mission accomplished, right? Except WWE just sacrificed their best ongoing storyline, contradicted their most protected character, and wasted a moment that should have been monumental on a segment that'll be barely remembered in a month. That's your WWE in 2025, capable of incredible long-term storytelling when they commit to it, but unable to resist hitting the reset button and going for cheap moments whenever they get nervous about ratings or social media metrics. And if you're not angry about watching the Tribal Chief's return get wasted like this, then you're not paying attention to what we lost in exchange for that 3-minute pop.